guys, it's Chookman and Hogan here today. Going to be talking about retro cupboards, talking about second-hand shops back in the 50s. Isn't it weird how we appreciate all that stuff now? Back in the 70s, we appreciate it because it's retro now. We reckon it's really cool to have. Well, that's what I think anyway. You know, back when I was young, I was so embarrassed to walk into an op shop, you know, to get second-hand clothes that someone else had donated. Because back then, don't forget, guys, back then, you only went to a second-hand shop if your family was hit hard times. And the foster family I went to, they hit hard times. They weren't poor, but they weren't rich, and they got everything donated, or they got everything for a couple of dollars, especially our clothes. You know, I was so embarrassed to go to an op shop back then and get second-hand clothes because you go to primary school and all the kids would laugh at you. You know, because most of the kids I went to primary school with, they had nothing but the best. They had Reeboks, they had Adidas, they had, you know, even when it come to playing cricket, you know, or football, they had nothing but the best. And but anyway, what I'm getting at is we look at retro stuff now and we find it very cool. Who would have thought all those years of not really liking all the stuff that was around in 1970 that you'd grow up loving it now? Like, you can't keep me out of an op shop if you tried. I love going to op shops and I love buying second-hand clothes, second-hand furniture, second-hand toys. And not only that, you can have a conversation with people about what you collect from the 1970s. I've met a lot of interesting people back, you know, from back then, you know, and they don't just collect antique toy cars and trucks and motorbikes. There's a whole big wide world out there now of collecting from the 50s, 60s and the 70s and the 80s and 90s. You look at people that are born in the 80s and 90s, they like to collect the cartoon favourites, you know, like He-Man, the Universe, all those things. Guys, I could go on here for hours telling you what people collect. You know, people collect different Legos. Look, it's a big wide world out there when you collect stuff. I started off collecting after I gave up alcohol. My partner says to me I've been off the alcohol for 13 years now, and that's the best thing I ever did was give up alcohol. But getting back to collecting, someone did ask me, what was the first thing you started collecting? It was Hot Wheels cars, because I remember when I used to get Hot Wheels cars when I was young, and they were cheap, $2, and they were $2 back then too. Certain cars back in the 70s, Hot Wheels cars, they were about $2.50. But yeah, it just blows you away, doesn't it, when you look back on all the stuff that you weren't really keen on, and then you get to your 50s and it's called retro collecting from the 70s. Antique toys, antique furniture, antique clothes, you name it. I love collecting it now. It's just weird how that happened, how I collect all this antique stuff. But I bet you any money, at least I can see where my money's gone. I'm not pissing it up against the wall like I used to, go to the pub and blow all my money and have nothing to show for it, you know.